Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Duncan.
There's a reason I play drums in the band, 'cause I can't sing. Oh, woo! It was a fantastic Monday for me. I just got done watching Monday Night Football, and I'm so stoked that two big things happened. That I'm glad that they happened. They were both positive, and it's been a minute for me. The season is like 5 games in, 5 games in, and the Bucks have been losing a lot. My fantasy football team has been losing a lot, and I think we reached that point where I either needed one of them to give, or I was just going to completely write off this season, which, in all fairness, probably would be for the better. I would get a lot more stuff done because, yes, Sunday's a day off from the vlogs, but I could still do the other things that need to get done. But it's nice to just sit there and chill and not have an obligation for one day a week. Everybody deserves that. But I'll get back to it. Not only did the Bucks win at the last minute with all of it riding on a kicker who is more unstable than who knows? Compare it to what you will. This guy, he went from being the record-holding kicker in the NCAA. So in college, he had more. I don't know what records he had. There's a couple. He completed the most kicks. He had the most points. Some maybe both. I believe he completed the most kicks. Like, he was just a phenomenal player at Florida State. He was so good that the Bucks picked him up in the second round of the draft. Now, those of you who don't understand football, if you haven't turned it off already, you're rolling your eyes at that statement. So I'll compare it if you watch like garbage reality television. Picking a kicker in the second round of the draft is like watching The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. In the third episode, they go, I don't want to like go to the next round. I want that one. And everybody being like, wait, hold on. There's a process. You know, you got to wean out what you don't want slowly. Like, come on, like you'll get to it eventually. And that's essentially what happened. Like, it's weird. It's weird to take a kicker in the second round because they're just, kicker's a kicker. But when they're that good, you have to bet a high pick on them. And that's what the Bucks did. But it was even weirder that this guy who sets the NCAA record for kicks completed all of college. And I mean, like, go back to like black and white, leather helmets and stuff like that. Like, he set the completion record 4 years ago. And the Bucks picked him, and he has been, there's no other way to put it. He's been terrible. He's been absolutely terrible ever since he got to the NFL. Just kind of one of those things, like, go figure. Like, how do you make sense of that one? He was the best in college. He gets to the NFL, and most kickers that are performing the way he's performing, missing half of their kicks, they'd have been gone a long time ago. And the whole game came down to I'll admit, the Bucks they're not going to go all the way. They don't look Super Bowl caliber. And, they're playing Carolina, which is not even that good of a team anymore, which is surprising because last year they went to the Super Bowl. But they got to the point where they needed him at the very last play. There was like 3 seconds on the clock, and the kick counted. He'd already missed 2 kicks in the game. Of his 3 kicks at that point, he'd missed 2 of them. He was doing that bad. And it came down to the game winner. He kicks it. And it's one of those things where you cheer for like you don't even know why you're cheering because he should have made one of the ones before. Had he made the other 2 that he missed, it wouldn't even be this stressful, like at the last second kind of situation. But it did make it interesting for Monday Night Football. He made it at the last second. They won. And that, of course, means that I, in fantasy football, beat Billy Burke. And if you follow me on Twitter at WeTheDan, you should. If you don't, what? I announced earlier this week that if I won in fantasy football, that Mr. Billy Burke, at I'm Billy Burke, you may be familiar with him if you're familiar with the podcast, was going to come up to Orlando and join me in a guest spot. It was nice. I don't know why I would have to wager something like that. I don't know why I would have to. Of course, he would. I think we talked about it like a month ago, but this really solidified it in like a I earned it kind of manner. And when you have a bit of a competitive nature like me, that's it means more. So hopefully in the near future, in the next couple weeks, I would say within 3 weeks, you will see at I Am Billy Burke up here doing a bit of a Today I Learned, as well as just hearing his soft, silky baritone voice, telling stories of bad luck, and doing it all with the most positive, sweet Billy nature that we know him to do so. So I hope that we can put that together sometime before Halloween or early November. And I believe that is going to happen. Speaking of the NFL, can't drop it just yet because it's been a Sunday. I'll just say that it has been a Sunday. I saw on Twitter that there's this weird thing the NFL is doing. They're collaborating with musicians to sell merchandise, and it's kind of an idea that I feel like should have been done a long time ago. But it was kind of just, it sprung up out of nowhere, and it was just kind of delivered. There's no voting system. Okay, so I'll explain the format. The best way to put it is how I saw it was All Time Low, the band All Time Low. They're from Baltimore. They had an announcement where, hey, we're collaborating with the NFL, releasing this officially licensed merchandise with our names on it. So it says for Baltimore in like their All-Time Low kind of font, their familiar font, and it's got their little skull inside of the Baltimore Orioles shield, but it also has the I just said Orioles, I meant Ravens. Sorry. The Ravens the Ravens shield, and it's this mix of All-Time Low and the Baltimore Ravens. It's very cool. Very cool. A powerhouse in music, a powerhouse in sports, and it's a shirt that's being sold. And I thought that was a pretty interesting thing. And so I'm kind of going through it, and it's a crazy concept because it feels like something that should have been voted on. When you see some of these, okay, so just going through it, like there's ones that just make sense. Okay, so for the San Diego Chargers, it's a collaboration with like Jason Mraz. Like he's wearing his fedora, but it's got like the San Diego Chargers lightning bolts through it, and it's like it's not Jason Mraz. It's like his iconic. It's like the drawing of himself from one of his albums. Anyway, you gotta look at it. I'll try and post a link in the description of this vlog, or a podcast. But you go through it and you just wonder like how some of these artists won these cities. Like for Pittsburgh, do you know how many people I can think for Pittsburgh to be collaborating with the Steelers? And it's Mac Miller, and I mean like no disrespect to Mac Miller, but I mean just. Wiz Khalifa made a song called Black and Yellow, and it just feels like that one's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? Like that one feels like a no-brainer to me. And you go through, and there's a lot of cool ones. Like the Detroit Lions one, you don't even notice it until you look, and the E in Detroit is backwards. Very subtle, just incredibly subtle for Eminem. Eminem always has backwards E. That one is awesome. I really want to get that one. The Jets have Kiss. New York Giants obviously have Frank Sinatra. There's ones that they clearly make sense. Philadelphia goes with Diplo. You got to click on this and you got to see this. This is so cool to me. But after I'm scrolling through these, I see some weird ones. Like, okay, one that I got to say is just kind of like how did that happen? The Miami Dolphins, they got Fergie. So it's like the Miami Dolphins logo, their font and their colors, but it just says like Miami Dolphins and Fergie. And you couldn't, I don't know, you just couldn't think of a bigger artist out of Miami or a more relevant artist. Like, Pitbull's still doing stuff. Pitbull still, he's one of the hardest working dudes. Whether or not you like him, right? Whether or not you like him, think about how relevant he still is because of how hard he works. Like Pink. Pink is a fantastic artist. You may say what you will about Pink, but think about how long you've been listening to Pink and knowing the industry like I do. You have to be an incredibly driven, incredibly positive, adapting, just hardworking person to be able to do what she's done. It's insane. Say what you will about her. You're probably not, let's say you don't buy her next CD or whatever. She is, I respect her like utmost, fully. To be around that long, the same with Pitbull. Like, think about how long you've been hearing him. You're like, oh, well, he's got this whole like Latin Spanish vibe. Like, yeah, all right, show me Ricky Martin. Like you can't just say that. You have to be so driven and so hardworking to be around that long. And I don't know how it got to Fergie for Miami, but it's just these shirts are kind of hilarious to me. But then, of course, the burning curiosity got to me. Like, who the hell would get the Bucks? Like who around this area? I'm thinking like you see like the Dropkick Murphys for the Patriots. You see Fall Out Boy for Chicago. And I look and I was so pleasantly surprised that the Bucks shirt for the NFL collaboration is Under Oath. So it's just got Under Oath written in the Bucks font and colors with their O with the slash through it in the background. I ordered it immediately. I ordered that shirt immediately. I couldn't hit pay now fast enough. Oh, so good. So good. There's other really cool ones like John Batiste. If you've seen the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, obviously a big artist out of New Orleans. He's got a really cool kind of classy looking shirt for the Saints. It's cool. You should check these out. I'm not like promoting this. I'm not getting paid to say this. It's not sponsored, but it's a very cool thing for such a powerhouse as the NFL to collaborate with musicians to try and like reach people. I think it's cool. Let me know what you think of your team that you like and who is represented in the music world for that team. Because I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, what? Like, for instance, the Tennessee Titans have Florida Georgia Line. I assume they're from Nashville, as a country artist, but it's just funny to see Florida Georgia Line representing Tennessee Titans. That seems like something that would be like a Jaguars thing to me. I don't know. All right, moving along. Enough with the NFL. Sorry about that. It's been a Sunday. What's been going on this week here in Orlando? Hurricane Matthew was a big thing. Oh my God, it was a big thing. That Wednesday, that Thursday, you walked around this town. It was all anybody could talk about. It was panic. It was anything you mentioned, the conversation led that way. Paper or plastic? I'll get plastic. Yeah, you're going to need plastic if you're going to go hold all the supplies you need after Hurricane Matthew. It's just like, what? How did you even lead that to that? And it was just so everybody had their character come out. I was outside of a Publix. We were getting supplies like water. I came out of a Publix and this guy was like, yeah, you just wait. Hurricane Matthew's going to hit. There's going to be looting around here. All these people are going to be coming around. They're just going to be looting. It's going to be crazy. They're not going to know what to do. And it'll blow your mind. He was wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Yeah, put two and two together for that one. But it was just absolutely nuts. Everybody's talking about, like, this is what you got to do. Just evacuate if you need to. Like, I got 100 texts. Like, Danny, are you going to be okay? But it's one of those weird things where you kind of just grow up with hurricanes if you grew up in Florida. And not that they're not serious. They are just, you kind of know what to expect with hurricanes. And where they are devastating, and they really are, is kind of if you're in a structure that is not built to withstand that. So I compared it in the vlogs to where, like, California has a very serious earthquake code. When you build new buildings or you do any sort of contractor work on houses, it doesn't matter when the house was built, you have to build that certain thing up to a code that is relevant and safe for, earthquakes. You can't always, get it right, and you can't just perfectly prevent, but you do these almost over the top prevention and, safety procedures that will make sure that you have the best chance of either maintaining the structure of your house or, at worst, not dying. You know what I mean? And Florida has had that for a while. And they've done things over the years where if you do these certain things to your building or your house, it actually lowers your insurance. Like, they've given Floridians every incentive possible to make sure that you are ready for something like this. But that being said, 130 mile per hour winds on a house, it is not an easy It's not like the wolf trying to blow down a house. Like it is serious, very serious. But luckily we were unscathed. A lot of houses, even coastal towns, they're built to withstand that. The worst part is the floods. Hopefully everybody had flood insurance, but it's weird because when it got up to the Carolinas and stuff like that, I feel like I haven't like researched it enough, but it really feels like the Carolinas had more of the devastation. It feels like they don't have as much as the hurricane kind of code procedure and everything like that as Florida. So it's kind of weird. And I'm not trying to say that like, yeah, Florida's impervious to hurricanes, but like, you know, it's like a Michigan winter, you know, like, yeah, it's going to be cold. It's going to suck. You know, things are going to be hard, but you know, we're a little bit used to it. Luckily nothing happened with us. Our power didn't even go out. We walked out, we saw a tree that was on a power line that the OUC, Orlando Utility, they were out there just like cutting this tree up that was on a power line. It's insane. It's still out there. We didn't lose power. We watched Netflix the whole time. And I'm going to be honest, we could have sat in the balcony and like had a glass of wine. It would have been a bit windy, but it wasn't that bad here. We got very, very lucky. Very lucky. But yeah, I will say that hurricanes are meant to be taken seriously, but I think everybody definitely over panicked. Is that a word? They over panicked a little bit, just a tad. It's always good to be prepared, but there's situations where people have probably a dozen gallons of water, and there are people that couldn't get them 2 days before the hurricane were coming because they bought a dozen gallons of water because they thought they were going to be without water for like 2 weeks. It's just like, all right, maybe the people saying that you're going to die and all your children are going to die on TV, they're causing more of a panic than needs to be. And just be prepared. All right, moving along. A lot softer topic. Halloween costumes. I still think that Donald Trump and Harambe are going to be big costumes this year, overdone. But now I have a new front runner for potential overdone costume. And be careful with this one, because I bet somebody listening has got this idea and they're going to be like, damn. If anybody watched the debate last night, you saw this character out of a movie stand up with his bright red sweater that it looks like his grandma sewed and ask a question about energy efficiency and like how can you have a plan B to make sure that coal miners and you know they have their jobs still, blah blah blah. This guy's name was Ken Bone. His name is Ken Bone, and he's an internet sensation now. He's taken over the internet. This guy, he just has this whole like kind of dorky, like, does he live with his mom? No, probably not. He's sweet enough. But at the same time, like, who is this dude? Just his bright red sweater. Oh, it's so funny. I saw a comparison of, I forget which Toy Story it was, where the guy is trying to steal Woody because Woody's like a priceless rare toy, but he looks just like that character. Like just like the character from Toy Story that's trying to steal Woody. I think it's Toy Story 2. But anyways, this dude is taking over the internet. He's a sensation. And he's so iconic with his like glasses, like mustache, kind of balding, and his bright red sweater. And I think that might be a new front runner for dangerous, overdone Halloween costume. If you're thinking about being Ken Bone, what a name. I would say be wary. Be wary about that one. It might be overdone. That being said, my costume isn't phenomenal. It isn't. It's probably not gonna win best costume, but what I ended up doing is putting together like pieces of accessories and this and that's from the store we were at. I didn't buy like a package. Mine didn't come in like one little like plastic bag. Like here's your costume, you know, like Mario Brothers or something. I put together some items and I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna work. It was more just me like kind of trying on stuff, looking at Valentina. I'm like, huh? And she's like, You know, like it was like thumbs up, thumbs down. You could have made a whole montage about it with, I'm walking on sunshine. Wow. And, you know, like there was one I put on and she was like, yes, that's the one. And I'm going with that. So pretty much if you hate it, let Valentina know that she's terrible at judging. I only said that because she can hear me. No, I'm actually really excited about this costume. It's going to be amazing. It's just meant to be. We wanted to do scary. Both of us wanted to do scary because you're either like, there's 3 different costumes. There's oh no way, like oh that's cool. Oh you're Mario, no way, cool. There's hilarious, Ken Bone, see above, or there's just you go for scary. And I think I just wanted to go for scary. There was a moment where I almost like chickened out and I wanted to go as Dracula just because it seemed like it was easy. You didn't have to wear a hot mask. You could still have a beverage in your hand and drink it. You know what I mean? But I didn't cheapen out. You can't do that. I already have the fangs for it. I feel like I'm Dracula all year round, so I couldn't do that. Anyway, I want to tell you guys something, make an announcement, because I think it's about a 60% rate of people who listen to this podcast compared to the people who listen or watch the vlogs. So those of you who are very cool, very dedicated, I wanted to announce something here before I did it on the vlogs. There's going to be brand new merch coming out in about, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Probably, I want to say 3 days. I want to say 7 days. It's this week. Coming out in this week. And I'm super excited. The design was fan inspired. That means somebody who watches the vlogs was like, hey, I made this shirt. I would like to believe that you would think it's cool. And I was like, yeah, that is really cool. I'm going to make it a shirt. She's like, that's amazing. I'm going to mention her by name as the person who inspired me. And I'm super excited about it. And we have a bunch of other shirts lined up, but I think we're going to go like a whole like once every 30 days thing to make sure that I just don't have overload. There's a difference between doing merch in a house and merch in an apartment. You just can't have like a bunch of shirts laying around. There's just no room. I can make like a bed for Buddy out of it, but he's already got that gigantic love sack. So there's going to be new merch. It's going to be announced this week, and it's going to be around for about 30 days. And I'm beyond excited for that one. Beyond excited. I think from there, I'm going to cut this one short because ironically, the exact same situation as last week. Buddy's looking at me right now with his brand new haircut. Brand new. Look at him. He's looking for dates. He's waltzing around. He's got his chin high. I never see him walk like that. Look at him. Tail's wagging. Oh, man. You should see this little guy. If you follow me on Snapchat, you've seen it, obviously. But he's just... I went in there and I was like, hey, so he's like a Papillon mix, I just found out. And I guess their whole, like, big part of their look is the ears, the tail, all that stuff is kind of feathery and it's nice. It makes them stand out. She's like, okay, never cut a Papillon, but I can respect that. And she's like, what about all this? And she's just looking at the mess Buddy has. She's got like 3 different patches of fur, all different lengths. And I was like, well, he likes belly rubs. So I would say trim the belly and clean everything else up. And then he just started kind of like whimpering and I couldn't listen anymore. So I was like, all right, bye. I had to get out of there because I knew it had to be done and I couldn't listen to him whimper anymore. So apparently he was really cool once she said the sweetest thing, by the way. She said he was really good once I learned that he likes to be cuddled. Once I cuddled him, he really calmed down. And it's just like, this poor dog. I don't know what happened in the first year of his life, but he just needs attention and love, and then he's okay. He's quick to think that you don't love him, and it's one of the saddest things ever. But going back to his badass haircut, his ears still have the long hair. His tail still has the whole feather duster. I almost want to like hold him up to like the high shelves and make his tail wag so he can take care of it. But he's got this buzz cut all the way through. He looks smooth, and he's like rejuvenated and young, and he looks slick. If you want to watch the vlog tomorrow, you can check it out. But I'm super proud of the boy for sticking it out. You got his claws trimmed and everything. All right. I'm babbling at this point. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. That's it for this Sunday, and we'll see you guys next Monday. Bye, guys.